Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
You're welcome and thanks very much. And our first segment as scheduled, Ignite the Fire. No, we weren't talking about the politics, but boy, that'll be 1:30 to 2:30 as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. Please join us for more Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
You're welcome and thank you for joining me in recognizing that if we are indeed to live amongst the land of the living and the free and, celebrate our liberties, to pray publicly and to condemn if we so choose, that democracy does not come without a cost. And he paid the ultimate price so we can have these freedoms. To Pastor Andrew, first to you, sir. Thanks. Welcome. Good afternoon, man. Glad you were joining us.
Always good to be here with you, Dwayne. Glad we were able to come on today.
All right. Well, I am indeed, truly in a place where I'm looking at and trying to be not just gracious but grateful. I know I had this conversation with Howard for the longest of times, but perhaps either through you, Pastor Andrew, intros of our wonderful guests as we talk about Ignite the Fire, or should we let, as good men would do, let ladies lead, because that's, where we go no wrong.
Well, I'll follow your lead and let the lady lead first then. Yeah.
So,
good morning to everyone. My name is Gina Howard. I'm a part of the team of Ignite the Fire. I'm actually Evangelist Gina Howard. It's an honor to be here at your radio station. Thank you for having us.
yes.
And I just want to say that I'm from Honduras. I came here when I was 19. Now I've been living here over 28 years. So I'm one of you. You can't run me. I belong here.
Hey, listen, thank you for sharing that, because that connection between, Cayman and Honduras and the Bahamas in particular, and Cuba, and even for the field in the Caribbean, at least in West Bay anyway, we see it strong.
Yes.
You can't run from it. You can't run from it.
Yes. I have 5 children, 2 grandchildren. They all live here with me. They are Caymanians too, so we are here to stay.
Yeah, I know.
And my husband is Edward Howard.
We won't hold that against you, though. That's okay. No, he is a good guy, man. I thank you for, not just introducing yourself like that, but, putting them on evangelists. I remember our first conversation months ago up in the supermarket, and, you stopped, you chatted, you shared, hey, this thing is coming up, I reach out to you, can we come on?
Yes.
Not just the enthusiasm and the passion, but the confidence and the willingness. And there we are chatting, and, it made my day. That lifted my Saturday. As I said to you then, and I say publicly, thanks. Good people really bring good things to the table. So thank you.
Wow, thank you. This honor for me. Yes, Ignite the Fire is with a group of evangelists that you set on fire. There is Alexander Worm, Evangelist Alexander Worm, Jacob Ebsol, and Michael Sett. That is the team that is here. And also there's an invasion team of other evangelists that are in fire that is spread throughout the island and doing outreaches.
And I'll sort of be led by you and be mindful that I don't consciously, put some things out. But as I was doing my readings this morning, both personal and info work, and to seeing some of the nonsense, Pastor, please chastise me if I use it incorrectly or if I'm disrespectful.
Yeah.
But the WEF, some of the foolishness relative to reportedly what he's saying about, children and consent. I'm thinking, 12 years old, not just culpable for murder, but for just wrong. The other stuff that are happening, and I look personally, at myself and go, okay, I'm a sinner, can be very horrible, but there's mercy, there's grace. And in a world today where it's upside down, we need to stand up and speak out, because if not, what's going to happen to us as we get older, your grandchildren, ours? And that's not to beat up on anybody. It's to recognize that we have really, really missed the mark.
Yeah.
I just wonder. I mean, if I'm off and if my words are wrong, Pastor.
Absolutely. We have this conversation frequently. I think it is a conversation that happens very publicly, but then also something that happens very privately.
Yeah.
And we can't always put our finger on, what went wrong, or how did we get here, or what's happening. And I think one of the things that really we have been able to see has been how just, if we're not careful, our society will erode away. We have to be able to use the voice God gave us. Yeah. We talk about freedom of speech and all those kinds of things. But, those ideas and those premises are really come from biblical values.
Yeah.
And the reason we have them are because we looked at what the Bible teaches. We looked at what the Word of God says, and then we went, all right, well, how do we apply that in sort of a public sense, and instill that within a community of people, and even our laws? A lot of them are formed based on those kinds of things. So, we have to be able to speak, because how can we deal with issues that we're not willing to talk about? How can we help if we can't have a conversation about what needs helping?
Indeed.
Yeah.
And as I listen to you, I'm mindful that we speak not only to condemn but to uplift.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only to champion but to question.
Absolutely.
And whether it is in Cayman or in Cape Town in South Africa, I mean, welcome. We didn't forget about you. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. My name is Waldemar Berschiminski. I'm from Germany, and I'm very happy to be here on the show.
I was conscious to not try to introduce. I had my good friends from Germany last evening. I'm thinking, I love, the chocolate. I love everything. I love the country, the people and stuff. And the one thing that Cayman offers is the ability to attract people from everywhere. And if we are able to come together to see that we are initially very obviously different. I mean, my long curly hair to your sand blonde one. I mean, but we are one flesh, one people.
Yes.
We are more alike. From your perspective, is it that we are seeing as a, well, no, you know what, let me not ask a leading question for this an objection. How do you see things unfolding in big industrialized nations like Germany, in struggling economies like South Africa, like emerging democracies like Cayman? I mean, how do you see it relative to evangelism and Christianity in particular?
So I'm an evangelist. I've been to over 50 countries, and what I see in every country is the big need for evangelism. I'm from Germany, and we were kind of a Christian continent or a Christian country, and we are wandering away, and the gospel is the power. I mean, we have to turn back to Jesus. We have to turn back to God, and this will transform the country, the continent. When I look at Europe, Europe before, we were heathen, we were pagans, and then the monks came. They established their hospitals, and they established universities, and this turned everything upside down. It's because of the gospel. And that's what we are seeing now here. And this is our wish for the Cayman Islands as well, that the gospel is the power, and it's going to change the island and for the good, and it's going to change the environment and everything.
Is it then that sometimes us who are leaders,
yes,
from the parents in the home to the principals in the school to the politicians in our parliaments, is it that we say but our words are empty and meaningless, that our failure to publicly have a very, very deliberate, concerted example of integrity, of humility, is that lacking from the pulpit to the platform?
So that you mean that the truth is not going to be spoken? Yeah, I think as a preacher, you have to be honest. You have to preach the gospel. You have to call black what is black and white what is white.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible does. I mean, Jesus was a preacher. He spoke the truth, and he said, "I am the way, the light, I'm the truth."
Mm-hmm.
And no one comes to the Father except through me. And we as parents, we as leaders, we have to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to change the country for the better.
We say a lot, and they sound good as slogans, but are they actionable? Or do we mean them? When we take our first break and come back, let's talk more about the upcoming event, what it could mean. We've seen other, for whatever, evangelistic events unfold in Cayman, and there may be, this thing that might happen on the nights, but does it continue, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. All right, please join us after the break. Remember, some open line at 1:30. All right, stay tuned.
When you want the best Black Friday deals in town, where do you go? Cellular World. Where can you buy smartphones starting at $99? Cellular World. Who has select iPhone and Samsungs up to 40% off for Black Friday? Cellular World. Who has the largest selection of headphones and Bluetooth speakers? Cellular World. Where can you save up to 40% on phone accessories like cases, wireless chargers, power banks, tripods, and ring lights? Cellular World. Who is the best at fixing and repairing damaged mobile phones? Cellular World. Catch the Black Friday sale on now at Cellular World, Cayman's one-stop shop for phones, accessories, and repairs. Located in Baytown Plaza across from the wharf.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Caymanbrac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And I wonder if when people heard that, I must share, is, one of the commercials that really caught my attention. Ignite the Fire came on. They thought it was politics. I don't know, In the church there isn't any. Well, Pastor Andrew Ebanks together with Miss Gina Howard and a good friend from Germany, whose name I shall not venture to say. I'll let Pastor Andrew, he's a linguist. How would you say his name, Pastor Andrew?
You reminded me earlier how to say that. The nickname, what was the nickname we called you?
Valdi.
Even to that is hard.
Yes. Yeah, I have a very long name, it's true.
Okay, for those who know, I love people, and Pastor Andrew's father, he an amazing man. He said, I even like someone, and I borrowed that from Scripture says, love everybody. It's the same, but liking them. So, my love for people. For our listeners, join us once more. Please say your name so we understand the importance of it.
Yeah, my name is Waldemar Bershiminski. I'm from Germany.
Waldemar Bershiminski.
Right.
So you did better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was rehearsing. No, thank you. And the reason why I did that is that it doesn't matter, right, where we're from. It doesn't matter how we look. It is the person that we are.
Yeah.
The humility, the integrity. If you don't mind me borrowing again, the agape love.
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
That is the love. And in the English language, love for the chocolate is the same love, for your spouse as the same well, no, you love your chocolate more. But we know the languages can have different connotations for the word love, right?
Sure.
And we want to have that agape love. So, Miss Gina, from that perspective, we want to ignite the fire. What do we want people to not just feel and do, but to come away with? And tell us about the event.
Yeah, Ignite the Fire is for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's for Honduran, Jamaican, African, Nepals, all nations. Mm-hmm. So our name is Christ for All Nations. Mm-hmm. Initially, that's what we was dreamed by. So that's what we bring into the island, something that will impact this island and will change people's lives forever, and that they will never be the same. Also, it's for you. So we bring in that.
Even sinners like me. Thank you.
Yes, it's for everyone that wants to come in and have that intimacy or that impact with God, like have that encounter.
Yeah. If I might ask, especially now in Cayman specifically, when there was this almost accepted, and I'll defer to you, I'll be guided because for me, I look at things a certain way and I want to understand. I want to be, as best as I can and as helpful as I can. But even sitting to pray to, before we break bread and say our grace, there are many that do that almost out of habit, almost religiously. There are many that do it consciously. My father, I admire and love him greatly, and he will not eat unless he says his grace. Mm-hmm. And he says simply, I say that for two reasons, he says. One, I have food to eat. Mm-hmm. Two, as important, I can eat the food I have. That didn't dawn on me until one time he said, listen, you imagine, right? We're surrounded by water. You're out in the boat. Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. So as a seafaring nation, just like he made the analogy, and that food that we have, the literal bread that we may eat, but the bread of life as well. So, Pastor Andrew, in the Cayman context, with all that we have, are we losing not just that tradition, but the importance of that love, of that fellowship, well, you tell me so.
Yeah, let me start with an apology. The reason I'll start with an apology is this. I think as the church, we haven't always done a good job of communicating the necessity for the gospel, the necessity of Jesus. You talk about my father. I was recently I found his computer the other day and I booted it up and I was going through some of his documents. Wow. And I was reading something that he was researching. And in that, one of the first things that the Cayman Islands requested from the UK was, if I recall correctly, a doctor, and the second one was a clergy. Yeah. And so from our inception, we always had, as a part of who we were, this desire to serve God and honor God. But the reason I start with an apology is this is because we haven't always done a good job of that. You know, I said to somebody just recently, I said, you know, we've taken for granted to a certain extent the opportunity that we have here in Cayman to really be a nation that really puts Christ forward at the forefront. Because while that's there, to a certain extent, Jesus said it this way: these people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And we haven't done a good job oftentimes of instilling that into the heart of people. We've sort of placated it to a certain degree where we just, you know, all right, well, let's have a prayer or let's do this or that. But really the heart of what's behind it is really missing. And I said to somebody just the other day, I said, I'm a dying breed. And they said, well, you know, you're a young man. I said, I know. But I said, the reality of it is that where are those who are coming behind me? Where are those who are on fire for the gospel? Where are those who, as young men, when I was 15 years old, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a mess at 15. Even though I had great parents, I was a mess at 15 years old. But I knew I wanted to serve and live for God. And we don't have a lot of parents who are instilling that in their children anymore because they don't see the value of it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing all of that. And you know, people might say, well, we're talking about this event, Ignite the Fire, how does this have to do? This is life. Yeah. You shared that you were a mess. Many of us look at you and say, no, you weren't. But the fact that you were honest with that, and even with great parents who love, pray, who sacrifice, who serve, we all can and probably sadly do go astray. But that's when I was asking, in our community, your apology, I think, needs to be echoed even more often by many more, because from our churches to our homes to our school, we're no longer looking, seeking and demanding and desiring the truth. And sadly, I think the events to evangelize, the events to fellowship and congregate have become perceived as money, as prestige, as style and no substance. And if you see someone who you see in church, you know, doing a good thing, and one day they're not doing a good thing, you go, And it could be justified, but it could be that person just had something that happened to them. I don't know about you, but I think I'm flesh, bone, and blood. I'm not sure. I'm not going to have a wearable tech on me.
Sure.
But we're human.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we forget that point sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I love about this event, Gina said it perfectly, but I think we have a tendency to run it through the lens of our own perspective. Yeah. Gina said this event is for everyone, and we literally mean that. Yeah. If you think this event is not for you, for whatever the reason you think it's not for you it's for you. If you think that you're not invited, you're wrong. You're invited. Yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, we were on a different radio program, and one of the morning programs here. And when we were on, we said, if you want to come and watch us fall flat on our face, come and watch us fall flat on our face. Like, it's literally for everybody, because we want everyone to be there, because everyone needs Jesus.
Do you think that we are either and you know, ashamed, or B, is it that as we look at today, the technology and all of the, you know, the modernization of the things that we say, oh, well, you know, that's no longer relevant and necessary, because, I mean, I referenced the WEF, and just to have economic in there, title is disgrace to that word. But the reason why I said it is that people are no longer questioning anything. They accept stupidity, and then they're divided by nonsense. I'm sure my last words, as deliberately unconscious as they were, to cause some people to, you know, wake up and open their eyes. They go, but he didn't have his coffee, or he had too much caffeine. It's not that. It's the foolishness that we're doing. You know, I mean, anyway, there was just a quick caveat. There's a wonderful, incredible lady, and why I said, let's be smart, let ladies lead, because thankfully, we had the late Miss Georgia and others who championed so much, right? Miss Esther, and there's so many, but there are many who are still alive. So this lady is, a sitting member of the political class, for want of a better word, in one of the states in the U.S., and she sent me something, and I thought, finally, is this what being awake is like? When you said, that is stupid, I don't care about being politically correct, I just want to be correct. This needs to stop.
Yeah.
This needs to happen. We need to do this instead. So as we take our final break, right, let me then ask, through our good German friend, Valde, I think before you leave, you're going to be bestowed an honorary citizenship.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to take the break with Susan. You see that? Follow the women. You'll get lost, you'll find your way. Join us right after for more Ignite the Fire.
'Twas the days before Christmas in Digicel stores near and far. Stockings were hung with the best tweenie deals by far. A 27-day bundle, it was quite an appeal. With 2 gigabytes any use data, it made Roblox so real. YouTube and Disney Plus, oh what a delight. Boys and girls were entertained from morning till night. Endless messaging, a connection so dear. Staying in touch with parents, oh what a cheer. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new Boneless Hot Sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Cayman Islands, clear your calendars because something extraordinary is coming your way. Ignite the Fire, hosted by Christ for All Nations, is roaring into the Lions Center from November 29th to December 3rd. Join us for an epic worship and gospel event, a monumental move of God that will transform lives and reveal destinies. Don't miss this 5-night, once-in-a-generation experience. Be a part of history in the making. Ignite the Fire, Cayman. Mark your date, November 29th to December 3rd at 6:30 p.m. nightly, and get ready for an unforgettable spiritual journey that will set your heart ablaze. Cayman and you will never be the same again.
Are you a Caymanian interested in a career in the TVET sector? The Ministry of Education is now offering grants to fund short-term TVET courses at registered local institutions. Whether you're looking to upskill, transition to a new career, or find employment, this grant is for you. To learn more and apply, visit www.moescholarship.gov.ky. Invest in your future with a local TVET grant today. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and thanks too to Miss Gina Howard for having that passion and enthusiasm, that willingness, and to share that love as you have, and to see you and your husband. It's amazing to see that family, and I'm reminded, family that prays together, stays together, and that is so crucial. So as we talk about Ignite the Fire, Pastor Andrew shared, this is for everybody. You very, very lovingly extended the invitation to all. Yes. But for some of us, we won't. And we'll see, that's for church people. And then church people say, well, that's only for that particular church group. And that church group say, well, only that congregation. So we keep dividing ourselves. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, we missed out. So when is it, Ms. Gino? When is it?
It's November 29th through December 3rd.
Okay, next Wednesday, right?
Yes. And when I say everyone, I'm going to emphasize on that. I mean, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your neighbors, and bring your enemies. Because if your enemies get converted, then the nation will be shaken.
Come on.
All right. Before I go to Pastor Andrew, well, from your perspective, you said, you've been to 15 nations, right? And there is, perhaps in the Christian circles, primarily, this word, it's a revival. Revival is coming. And we've heard it. We may have thought we've experienced it. Tell us about that and, this event and what you've seen from your travels.
What I've seen is that we really need revival, especially, I'm from Germany, and we need revival in Germany, but also on the Cayman Islands. And I've seen that the gospel has the power to change lives, and that's what we are expecting here as well on the event. We pray for the sick, and we see God is doing incredible miracles. We see blind eyes open, we see deaf ears open, we see cripples walk. And that's because revival breaks out. Because Jesus says that He's always the same. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He performed miracles 2,000 years ago, and He will perform miracles on this event. Yeah. So, if you are sick, bring your sick friends, your sick relatives. Revival is going to break out. Revival is going to change your life for the better.
Is it then, as we hear that, we look at that as something that happened 2,000 years ago?
Yeah.
That's a nice story we probably would read to our children while they're still young, But today, the belief in miracles, the faith, is it strong? What's your view on it as people who say, you're just really talking something and it sounds good, but nothing to it?
I'm a living miracle. I was blind exactly 10 years ago, December, it was 10 years ago. I got blind on one eye, and I cried out to God, and I said, God, I'm at the bottom of my life. I don't know what to do. I cannot drive a car. I cannot work anymore. There is no girl that is going to marry me because I'm blind. And I cried out to God, and God performed a miracle, and I'm healed. And now I preach the gospel. I preach a living God, and we pray for the sick, and we literally see miracles. That's not something what is written 2,000 years in the book, but we see miracles on a regular basis.
And thank you for sharing that, because I think sometimes, Pastor Andrew, people will say, well, yeah, but I need to see it, taste it, touch it to believe it. Proof is in the pudding. All the things that we say. It's real.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says that you don't need faith for what you can see. Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is that's people want to say, all right, just give me all the evidences of everything. Yeah. And they don't realize how much of life, let's forget about Christianity for just a second. Yeah. How much of life in general, we just live by faith on a daily basis. And so when it comes to God now, and God says, hey, I want you to have faith for something, how important that is. I'm glad Baldi shared that, because, one of the things we have seen is already before we've even had the event, the main event, is people coming to Christ, people trusting in Christ. Just as a matter of fact, over the weekend, we saw 140 salvations between Saturday and Sunday, of people, just local people going into the community, praying with people, leading them to Jesus. And I tell people this all the time: the greatest miracle you will ever see is someone surrendering their life to Jesus. It's great when the blind eyes are open. Don't get me wrong, I believe in all that. I've seen some of that even. But the greatest miracle that we never want to lose track of is the salvation of your soul. Because if God opens your eyes or opens your ears or you regrow a limb or whatever, whatever it is you're praying to God for, what's, as the Bible says, what's the point of gaining the whole world and at the end you still lose your soul? So the greatest miracle we will ever have is salvation, because only Jesus could have done that. Nobody else could have. Mm-hmm. So if only one man could give you that, and he has, then that's the greatest miracle any of us could ever receive.
Yeah. And as I listen to you, I mean, too much to give much is required, right? And that's in everything. But I wonder if we have come to this place. It may be true, I just don't subscribe to it. For some of us, we had to get to that place where we, as Valerie shared, we rock bottom in something. This thing is before we have it, because we're no longer able to do for ourselves. But wouldn't it be better that if you're at the top, of the summit, and you can extend a hand or a rope and you pulling people up, as opposed to you're down in the deepest valley and there's no sunshine? I mean, what's that song? There's no joy when she's gone. Right? Why do we need to hit rock bottom? Why can't we celebrate when we're at the summit?
Sure. If I could reframe that a little bit,
yes,
I think we can celebrate when we're at the summit, but I think one of the things that has to happen for many of us, and this isn't just true of Christianity, I think this is true in the political sphere, in the social sphere, in the economic sphere, we have to come to the end of ourselves. So many of us are just out for ourselves. And I, just recently I was preaching, and I was talking about how God said to the people, he said, I will put a door of hope in the valley of Achan for you. And what that was is the valley of Achan was actually where a guy brought shame. We know the famous story of Jericho, right? There was a guy who God told him, don't take any of the gold, don't take anything from the city, basically. That all belongs to the Lord. And he and his family were killed because they took the stuff. And it was actually seen for the Jewish people for years, as hundreds of years, as a sign of shame and a sign of defeat. And God says, I'll put a door of hope in the valley of Achan, not on the mountaintop of Achan. Because to get to the mountaintop, you've got to experience all kinds of victories. And so you look, that's where, the unbiblical phrase comes from, that God helps those who help themselves. That's not the God I serve. The God I serve says, I will help those who cannot help themselves. That's because that's my story. That's your story. That's everybody's story, is that we needed him to step in and help us. And so the reason why God oftentimes put hope in the valley is because that's where we all are. We're all in that dark place. We're all in that valley where we're trying to find the sunshine. There's another verse in Psalms that says, even if I made my bed in hell, I'm not too far from your love. So he's there. That's where we go. That's where he's willing to step into to get to us. And I thank God that he doesn't look at us and say, well, get to the mountaintop, and then when you get there, then I'll sort you out. All
right. Well, before we conclude, we're honored to have a guest join us by phone, Pastor Andrew, Waldy, and Miss Gina, as we talk about Ignite the Fire. Let's go to the phone. Say welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, my friend. How are you today?
Okay, man, and good afternoon to your guest, too.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Speaking of miracles, back in 1994, my earthly father was sick with cancer. He was 56 years old. The doctor said one lung was completely cancerated and half the other one was cancerated. And they brought us in the family room and they gave my earthly father less than 3 months to live, the doctors, because they said there was nothing more they could do for him. And I took that very hard. And I went home and I read in the Bible about healing. And it says to get some elders from the church, 3 elders from the church, anoint the sick person with oil. And through repentance and confessions of their sins, the sick person, and through the prayers and faith of those who gathered with my earthly father, he got saved right there in that hospital back in 1994. and he lived for 11 years and 8 months afterwards.
Wow, praise the Lord.
He died at the age of 67, and when he was 56 with cancer, the doctors said he had less than 3 months left to live. So when the doctors are not able to do anymore, Jesus Christ and God Almighty are able to.
Yeah.
And these are the days of miracles. These are the days where Jesus and God are sending people out to heal the sick.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome work that you all have, because the greatest thing we can hear as human beings on Judgment Day is, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant."
Amen.
And what is very important also is that when Jesus comes for his children, we are prepared to go with him, because you do not want to be left behind. Because some serious things are going to happen after Jesus takes his children home with him. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
As the caller publicly shares, I mean, that is it. I do recognize that time only waits for women, just because time waits for no man, it says. We're at that hour where we're going, but maybe this will just be the start of continuing conversations, either collectively or otherwise. But if I may first, to Miss Gina, just your closing invitation for next Wednesday.
Yes, I urge you with an emergency, like a 911 call right now. Put up all the red lights in your neighborhood. Invite, like I said, your family, your friends, your enemy. Bring everybody on the 29th of November throughout December 3rd at the Lion Center at 6:30. Come, it's going to be fiery. It's going to be healing, like our caller says, and it will be deliverance, and it will be the gospel that you will hear, and you will have an encounter with the Lord.
Valdi, any thoughts you may want to leave with our listeners?
Yes, I want to invite everyone again. I mean, the gospel is the power. It will change you. So if you are sick, bring your sick friends, bring your enemies, as Gina said, because this will transform everything. That will transform Cayman Islands. And please come. You are going to be blessed. You are going to be delivered. You're going to be saved and set free in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Now, Pastor Andrew, as you close out, is this, share with us your closing thoughts.
Yeah, no, this is going to be an awesome event. We've been working on this for months, maybe even longer. And, I think this is going to be a fulfillment to prayers of generations past, that this is a passing of the baton, so to speak, to the up-and-coming generations and generations that haven't even been born yet. We've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got a great lineup of artists. We've got Positive and his band coming. We've got Rhoda Isabella and her band. We've got local churches and local bands doing things. It's going to be an awesome event. But most importantly, Jesus is going to be preached, and people are going to receive salvation, and lives are going to be changed, and the Cayman Islands will not be the same after this. I believe that with all my heart. And so come on out, join us, regardless of where you're from, what your background. You may think the church hates you. You may think nobody wants anything to do with you, but that's not true. Come on out and join us at this event. It's going to be amazing.
Next Wednesday, 6:30 at Lion Center. Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for bringing that, energy and the sunshine. S-O-N.
Amen.
All right. We're going to pause, and when we come back, more talk today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
Former Premier the Honourable Wayne Panton decides he would rather focus on serving his constituents in Newlands than take on the role of Speaker of Parliament. In a statement today, Mr. Panton said the Speaker role requires neutrality and, as the elected member for Newlands, feels he is now in a position to direct more attention to his community. In international headlines, a stampede at a military stadium has left at least 37 people dead in the Republic of Congo after large crowds of young people responded to a recruitment appeal. The Congolese Armed Forces Command later announced that all recruitment operations have been suspended in Brazzaville until further notice, following the tragedy late Monday. The Public Prosecutor's Office says an investigation will be launched and questioned why the event was still going on at midnight. Despite inflation and memories of past holiday travel meltdowns, millions of people are expected to hit airports and highways in record numbers over the Thanksgiving break. The busiest days in the U.S. to fly will be Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as the Sunday after Thanksgiving. The U.S. Transportation Security Administration is expecting to screen 2.6 million passengers on Tuesday and 2.7 million on Wednesday. Sunday will draw the largest crowds with an estimated 2.9 million passengers, which would narrowly eclipse a record set on June 30th. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Caymanbrac on 9th of September 1937. Fondly known as Big H to his family and friends, both a sailor and electrical technician with 5 years at sea and 29 years with cable and wireless, in January 1960, Big H married Cicely Dilbert of Creek, Caymanbrac and had 5 sons. In October 1976, he was united in his second marriage to Francine Porter of Spot Bay, Caymanbrac, and they had 1 daughter. Big H was a part of the band Eddie and the Beach Boys, and in August 1977 traveled to New York, where he recorded and published his album, A Quick Drink by the Pool Bar. Big H could always be found at the Hilton, his backyard kitchen, which he built in the late 80s to house in yams and cassava he cultivated on the bluff, later converting it into an outdoor kitchen, which was named the Las Vegas Hilton. Big H spent the majority of his time at the Hilton, and you would find him playing his guitar and singing his heart out while sipping on his 345 beers. He was known for having many cook-ups with his famous beef and pork. On the evening of Wednesday, 18th September 2019, 9 days after celebrating his 82nd birthday, Hinton passed away peacefully at the Health City Hospital in East End, Grand Cayman. He was the proud father of 6 children, along with 17 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we get into a discussion with our good, friends and colleagues over at the Family Resource Center, just a quick reminder and an extension, an invitation to Ignite the Fire next Wednesday, starting next Wednesday, 6:30 Lions Center, on behalf of Pastor Andrew and Miss Gina. Well, let's go to the phones and join Miss Yanique Matthews. Hey, welcome. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Always a pleasure, man, and we, hope that through our partnership that we can bring more of us, to meaningful discussion. And, for our listeners, let me ask instead, let me direct. Give us your intro, Ms. Yanique, and your, for our listeners, a quick sort of preview and overview so that we know, as we have our discussion.
Okay, great. Glad to do so. My name is Yanique Matthews. I am one of the parent practitioners here at the Family Resource Center within the Department of Counseling Services. I'm also a committee member for this month's International Men's Day celebration. We're here to honor and celebrate the men and boys in our lives, and we have a variety of activities across the month of November. The theme, the international theme this year is You Are Not Alone, Zero Male Suicide. And so we're promoting awareness of this very grappling reality that's affecting men and boys. And we would also like to invite your listeners and the broader community to join us in our webinar tonight. We are having a webinar focused on how to safeguard boys and men against suicide. And we have a highly qualified guest speaker, Mr. Greg Miller, who is a psychologist and therapist working at Infinite Mind Care Counseling Services. So that's one of the events we would love for everyone to come out and support. It's a webinar. It will be this evening at 6 to 7 p.m. You can use our social media sites, our Facebook, and join us on the Facebook Live at 6, or pre-register via our Instagram post, or via an email sent to frc@gov.ky. I'd also like to invite your listeners and yourself to join us at our workshop tomorrow. We've been doing a series of workshops, one for each district, and so the district for Georgetown is presenting tomorrow. It's on managing financial stress, because one of the risk factors for male suicide has been men grappling with how to be providers and how to manage their finances to contribute to their home and to take care of themselves and their families. And so we have a speaker who will be hosting a workshop tomorrow evening. It will be at the Red Cross headquarters opposite the Farmers Market Cricket Grounds, and that is from 6 to 8 p.m. There's also pre-registration for that, which can be found via our Instagram or Facebook pages.
And as I listen to you too, I'm wondering to what extent, society understanding possibly that the pressures either society puts on men or men assume as protectors and providers, despite the changing dynamic that we have with our language, that because of that, men feel that pressure and they may, not necessarily respond in the most positive way and potentially inflict self-harm.
Right, and that's why we really appreciate the international theme that has been chosen this year. And there are several countries across the world that are promoting that same insight that you just provided, that this is an issue, right? And that there are multiple reasons why anyone may consider ending their life. But this month and at the webinar tonight, we want to hone in on what's happening with boys and men, discuss what those risk factors are. So for those of you who have young sons and you're wondering, okay, how can I keep oversight on my child to act early, right? And so we can get some prevention going. And if you're concerned about the man in your life, the adult male in your life, what are the other factors that may be contributing to such a decision? So we welcome everyone to join us. It's going to be a very riveting conversation because we really, really want to highlight. Statistically, the stats have maintained, unfortunately, across decades of research that men commit suicide are more successful at committing suicide than women. So women may attempt it more, but the men tend to be more successful, meaning if they decide to end their life, they are successful at doing so.
Yeah, and this is, a discussion just by its nature is difficult to have, not just in private, but in public. And a presenter like Mr. Miller, he wasn't just an accomplished athlete, a doting father, but a stalwart of a man in our community. So maybe as people listen to him, his words can resonate with them. They can understand and relate to him because, he's of the soil. He's had his experience here. And that should probably bode well for our wider community, huh?
Yes, and that's exactly why we invited Mr. Miller to join us, because he has over 14 years of experience doing therapy. He's worked here at the Department of Counseling Services. He's also supported the Employee Assistance Program, EAP, and he's currently, as I've said, at the Infinite Mind Care. So he's seen the range that exists on this island, regardless of, socioeconomic status, nationality, or of those other factors. So he has a good handle on what's happening, who's showing up, and who, more importantly, is not showing up.
Yeah.
And so tonight's emphasis on let's identify as early as we can those who are great at risk, whether it's as early childhood or, all the way up to full adulthood. Let's identify them very early, and what are some preventative measures that we could put in place to safeguard our boys and our men.
And I think, as I listen to you, I'm looking at a comment from one of our listeners, and I tried to, respond to them to see whether A, I get, consent to read it as it was sent, and then B, how to frame it as such. But it speaks to what you're sharing, and paraphrasing what the person has said is simply a case that in today's society the person is questioning to what extent people, but men, the male person, is ever conflicted and confused, not just by terminology, but perhaps by expectations, perhaps by behaviors of others. And the person is asking to what, if that is the case, how is that affecting the male brain? How is that affecting the male persona? And then, by extension, the actions or inactions of the male. Well, what do you think?
I think that's a wonderful comment and question, and I think that's exactly what we're going to discuss tonight, because, yes, there are societal expectations, right? There are so many social messages received by boys and men, and some they maintain across their life experience being male, that is influencing this decision of how do I manage? I am grappling with these issues. I am grappling with meeting the expectations that society has set for me, and I can't manage it. It's too much, right? So I think the commentator had an excellent spot-on reflection there, and that's exactly what we wish to highlight across the month, given the theme, You Are Not Alone, Zero Male Suicide, and, as I said, more specifically at tonight's webinar session.
Right. And I want you to remind us again shortly as to how to be a part of it. But following on from what you said and the comment from our listener on the message, some may think, this particular issue is only for them or in that particular area, age, ethnicity, socioeconomic status and the like, or even geography. To your mind, is this from the statistical analysis? What does that bear out? Is it across all divides, all geographies and the like?
That's a very fair question. It is actually, unfortunately, across all the variables that we can possibly think of. It's a male and female issue, but this month we're highlighting, because it's International Men's Day, we've extended the month. We're highlighting what's happening with our boys and our men. But it is an issue that internationally other countries are also grappling with, that they're seeing that phenomenon. And as I said, the research has panned out across the years that it's at a crisis level, right? Because of the societal expectations, because of the societal messages, men and boys learn very early not to speak up, not to necessarily be proactive in getting that support because of the messages that society sends them, right? And so what we're really trying to do is to try to stem the curve, stem this tide that's happening and say, hey, even here in Cayman, there are persons among us who are struggling. What are some of these early signs so that you as a caring caregiver, parent, family member, even a friend, co-worker, if you recognize some of these signs, what's the next best thing that you can do to help save a life? Because you may just be that influential. I could actually safeguard someone's life here.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because I wonder, whenever we do have any kind of discussion, and this is why seminars like tonight can allow people to participate and, one, get timely, accurate, objective information from someone of the caliber of Mr. Miller, but two, to appreciate that they're not alone, as you shared. But then, with that in mind, do you think our society, when we have these discussions, from not just media accounts, or not just portrayal in music or film or the like, but even sometimes when we want to talk about these, that there's not just the emotional component, but perhaps the fearfulness that having this discussion could do more harm than good. Now, knowledge, just say, can help, and education is informative, but what do you think when it comes to public discussions of a topic as sensitive as this?
I think that it is more helpful than harmful to have the public discussion guided by a professional who has expertise in this area. And that's why we've asked Mr. Miller to lead us on this discussion. Because we do recognize it's a very sensitive topic. We do recognize that it's going to make our listeners reflect on the persons in their lives, their loved ones. For those who may have lost someone at some point in their own history, we understand it may unearth particular feelings and emotions. But it's better to have the conversation, get the accurate information, and find out what are the options on island that are here to support you in that. You don't have to struggle. You are really not alone. You really are not alone. There are persons here, highly qualified, trained persons, spaces in both the public and private sector. For instance, as I said, Mr. Miller works at Infinite Care. We also have the Counseling Center, which is a part of the Department of Counseling Services that offer support.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you shared that, because I think many times people feel as if, they are alone. Even if they acknowledge to themselves that, other people have experienced this, or the probability that they're the only one ever experiencing this, so remote. But for that time and that space and that mindset, they may feel isolated. They may feel alone. How do we give them then that will, that courage, that extra little push to ensure that, they do something positive and helpful as opposed to, otherwise?
Right. And I love that you've asked that question, because given the sensitive nature of it, I can see someone saying, I need the language, right? I need to know what to say and how to manage that. And that is something we've asked Mr. Miller to cover tonight with us. Until then, what I can say is that once we have the awareness, then we can approach the person just out of concern. It's very helpful. We've all had the life experience where we've struggled with something. And we've all had the willingness to say, I wish somebody had told me this. It would have made me more comforted. It would have helped me in my difficulty. And so even saying, to your friend, your coworker, to your son, I recognize that you're going through something. Let's talk about it. Or can I connect you to a professional who can have this conversation with you and guide you better than I may be able to do so?
I appreciate you sharing that, because what you said just prior, in that you never know how impactful our words are. So let them be important. Dr. Alexandra Borden reminds us that the power of the word, and words can, cause people to feel a certain way. So why not speak life? Why not speak, positivity? But as you shared, have the language so that you are there as consciously and willing as you want to be helpful. But you're there in a space where you're sufficiently informed that what you're saying actually is helping, as opposed to inadvertently hindering.
Yeah, because validating that human experience, that I recognize you, I see that you're in the midst of a struggle. That's powerful in and of itself.
Just being kind. I mean, we feel sometimes to forget the teachings of our parents and grandparents, that, genuineness, kindness matters. It makes a meaningful difference to people. Maybe we've gone so far, feel that we now lost sight of humanity. We no longer exhibit humility, and there's a sore lack of honesty. For many who are listening, may have just joined us, would you kindly remind us how we can be a part of tonight's webinar and like?
Okay, great. So via our Instagram page, there is a registration for the webinar tonight, and once you do so, we will send out the Zoom link. And so you can just go to the Family Resource Center, search for us on the Instagram page. You can also, if you can't access your social media right now at your job, but you're listening in on this call, simply shoot us an email at frc@gov.ky, seeking interest to join us in the Safeguarding Men and Boys webinar tonight, and we will happily send out that link, as well as we will be on Facebook Live. So we're going to do a simulcast via Zoom and Facebook Live tonight. So you can also join us at the Family Resource Center's webpage on the Facebook platform.
Okay. And that's...
At 6 p.m., it's 6 to 7 p.m.
Thank you, yeah, because I was letting people understand that, we respect people's time, and, that's 6 to 7 for some. Yeah, it's an hour, but it's a significant hour, but this would be a meaningful investment and meaning, that they might make a difference in their own lives. Who knows who's listening that may have had ill feelings and not quite sure how to, qualify or even categorize what they're sensing within their own being.
Yes, and we chose the time too because of that convenience, right? Some people may be on their way home, or they may be having dinner or having a late night in the office, or be able to do so wherever they are. And we're also cognizant of, to some extent, any time is a good time to have this conversation.
Yes.
Because we really want to send that message: you are not alone.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that as we look, and as I'm listening to you, I'm reflecting on the conversation just early with Pastor Andrew, and the notion that when we speak into a community and we want to be positive, this webinar could be an opportunity for the men, fathers and their sons and our brothers, as they would sometimes watch a game, perhaps listen. They'll understand Mr. Miller. He's relatable. They'll be able to appreciate, as you shared, there may have been, things that transpired in their lives that this might hit in a certain way, but it might be an opportunity to open up a conversation.
Right, and I think what I love about how you stated that is sometimes part of feeling alone is that we fail to recognize that there's somebody else who's had this experience. That it's normal to have that type of response to what you may have experienced in your life. And then how to, in a more healthy way, respond to the experience that you've had. You don't have to choose ending your life. You don't have to choose self-harm. Right? There are options, and that's what we've invited Mr. Miller to cover with us in more detail tonight.
Well, I really appreciate you not only extending the invitation, but having this discussion, and people who are listening, for whom this might stir some emotion. I think what we're sharing is that you're not alone. There's the importance of connectivity, and people need those connections. That conversation that is instructive and informative, but is also, as you said, validates and makes them feel as if they are what they are, truly important.
Yes, very much so. And as I said, I'd like to also just remind the audience, we are also, because of one of the major factors is financial stress, we have been doing a workshop in each of the districts. We just have Georgetown tomorrow at the Red Cross headquarters, as I said, opposite the cricket grounds. That's 6 to 8 p.m. And we have a guest speaker first in how to manage your financial stress, how to help you dig yourself out of the hole that you may feel you're in financially. So that's going to be at the Red Cross tomorrow. And then on November 29th, we take the conversation to Bordentown.
Well, I really appreciate you doing that. And I think it goes hand in hand, especially now, with all that people are facing, with the financial stress and the challenges that is put on people. Having that workshop may cause people to understand that, again, even in that, they're not alone. There is help, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Matthews, you and the team, just prior to you, we had a good, conversation with your colleague, Ms. Diaz-Gray. So I'm trusting that as we have these continued conversations and partnerships, we get a chance to enjoy and learn more and be a part of something meaningful.
Well, thank you so much for inviting the Family Resource Center to join today, and thank you, listeners, for calling and listening in. And because we really want to get that message out there that you really are not alone.
you're not alone, and for some it's so important to be reminded. Well, keep us posted as to how we can help, how we can offer up our platform and a meaningful partnership with you.
Thank you so much for this offer, and we will definitely stay in touch.
All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you too.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And we will pause, and when we return, we're grateful that we were able to, maneuver an hour for some open line. There's a fine gentleman who's joining us. He's going to walk into the studio after the break. He's going to have things to say and share, and he's going to invite, some discussions. And if another gentleman's schedule allow, or another lady's opportunity, they'll call and they'll talk and we'll share and we'll understand as we embrace each other's views. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Shop in store or online for the extraordinary Black Friday sale at Tomlinson Furniture and Mattress Gallery. 2 days, in store only, Friday the 24th and Saturday the 25th of November. Store-wide savings on everything in stock, up to 50% off, plus a free gift with purchase. Online shoppers can save on Cyber Monday with huge savings of everything from TomlinsonFurniture.ky. This is the largest sale of the year. The perfect time to replace your mattress, buy your bedroom set, sofas, and anything you need for the home. Hurry in for Tomlinson Furniture's Black Friday in-store sale this Friday and Saturday. And Cyber Monday sale, save up to 50% off. Tomlinson Building on Walkers Road.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they coming out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it catch you. But for real, brother, flu season is here, and COVID is still around. You gotta stock about things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662, or WhatsApp ValueMed in Boddentown at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
It's party season, which means it's pizza boat season. Aren't you tired of the same boring pizza? It's time to party. All aboard the pizza boat. Birthday parties, holiday functions, office luncheons, game nights. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat, a Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas. All day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and Fridays until 3 a.m. Pickup or delivery 949-0000 or get it online at www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Kirk Freeport's 4-day Black Friday weekend is back from Thursday 23rd to Monday 27th. Kirk Freeport will have once-in-a-year deals that must end on Monday. Find unbeatable deals on jewelry, watches, and fragrances across the Kirk Freeport network, including Kirk Freeport at the Strand and Bayshore Mall and La Parfumerie at Bayshore Mall and Cardinal Avenue. And there's more. The Kirk Freeport pop-up store on Cardinal Avenue is back with the craziest deals of all, up to 75% off. The biggest luxury sale of the year is here for 4 days only. Visit kirkfreeport.com for details.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And open line with dialogue as we invite those to call and having an informed and engaged mind across the mic even better. Mr. Mario D. Rankin.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listening public. And again, extend my gratitude for allowing me to come here and share my opinions and views as usual.
Yeah, man. And thank you. We recognize that there are many people who would like to come into the studio, but for different reasons, the nature of their job in terms of scheduling, perhaps the position that they occupy. And I'm glad that they'll share some things with us by phone, or sometimes they'll just say, hey, speak to this. It's about having a platform, and I commend Radio Cayman. I trust that we'll always champion it to allow a voice once it's respectable, said respectfully, and in a way that responds to what is before us, so that we engage people. I mean, that's what makes a community healthy. We can't have, like we see in many jurisdictions, where the voice of the radio is owned and controlled by some at the expense of others, huh?
Well, try North Korea. They own all of the media outlets, the theaters. They even write their own movies. Yeah, I read that.
Have you seen a few?
I read that in the book. Yeah. But no, I'm so grateful for Radio Cayman simply because it has the most appropriate name.
Yeah,
Radio Cayman. So this should be a platform where anybody who lives and contributes to Cayman's economy and want to call Cayman home should have an opportunity to call in, write in, come in and voice their opinions and their views.
Yeah, share your view. You can commend. Let's say if we talk politics, for argument's sake, commend the government. That's a great policy, and they should pursue that program. Or you may say, hey, what are they thinking? But not just criticize.
Right. Agreed. I mean, I've been coming here now. I feel like I work here. You know what I mean? Sometimes I...
Are you getting a paycheck?
No.
So then you probably do work here because it's no paycheck.
No. I don't expect one, and I would do it, and I would do this for free as I do. But what I mean is that I thoroughly enjoy the opportunity to have open dialogue, especially with the listening public. Even if we don't agree on some things, that's what makes healthy conversation. Is when you can share ideas, share opinions, and try to get to the bottom of the issues and suggest some solutions and all of those things. So we may all have different opinions, but we have to share by compulsion the same facts, because the facts are the facts.
It's interesting that you share that because I had well, in a vein of apologizing, I preferred a book, right, actual paper, over something else digital. I prefer to read over watching something, and it's just maybe how we learn. It's a preference, right?
It's a tolerance thing.
Yeah, and I understand as I get older, certain things that you tolerate more than others, right?
Wow.
But in saying that, today I try to divide my day into reading for me in different ways, and then I also need to make sure I do my work because I need to be prepared. And then you said facts. It's interesting that today's world we have little phrases that I have to question. Where did they come from? What is the sense of that? It's not that it's an oxymoron. It's not that only that if you look at the etymology of the word and the like, you go, but that doesn't make sense today. And if it goes unchecked, it'll become accepted 100 years from today. And then how fooled will we be then?
Well, I mean, it all boils down to interpretation of anything.
Right.
And for me, I think, as you mentioned earlier about reading books, actual books, is more beneficial to you, or you prefer that. And I do a bit of both. All right. I mean, knowledge is knowledge.
No.
And I try to gather as much as I can on the topics and the issues in which I think is relevant for me. That they'll guide and help me navigate what I need to. But Marcus Garvey wrote over 100 years ago, and you'd have to question as to where did he get that level of vision that long ago about something that is relevant today, 100 years later. He wrote in some of his memoirs and some of his writings, he said, those who control the advancement of technology will rule the world. So please, advance your people and make sure that they're at the forefront and controls all technology that is advanced. He wrote that 100 years ago, right? And yet to this day, no real visionary or patriotic individual has really taken that position seriously within the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Because he was speaking predominantly to the Caribbean people because of the huge displacement of slaves from mainland Africa.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about perception. It's all about how you interpret certain things, and it has a lot to do with how you go about using what you have learned or how you interpreted it.
Yeah, exactly.
So again,
but it's also to an understanding of the bilateral brain, as it were, and how we process, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, whether we're reading the writings of Marcus Garvey or we hearken to George Orwell, right?
Yeah.
And we see some of these things that perhaps are prescient.
Well, let's just use Bob Marley for an example.
Yeah.
If you listen to Bob Marley music, it was legendary. It was
prophetic almost.
And people call him a modern day prophet. But guess who his heaviest influencer was? In fact, Emancipate Yourself from Mental Slavery is writings of Marcus Garvey.
Yeah. And I did something. This is not pure academic, and it's certainly not exhaustive, right? Even though looking at some of Bob Marley's lyrics, I think stuff that the way he presented it, it was relatable.
Well, yeah, because he did it in music.
Yeah.
Vibrations and the feel.
And I compare that to other singer-songwriters, not the same for me, so it resonated. But I was able to pull much of his stuff, right? And not only see the influences of his day and Garvey, but the scriptures. Right?
You ever saw the quote from Bob Marley said, those who get wet by the rain? He said some people feel it and others just get wet.
Just get wet, yeah.
That's a very serious, powerful comment,
Yeah.
So again, it's all about interpretation. And believe me, I'm not going to tell you that I have a better grip of certain realities than the other person. I'm just saying that I have the grip that I have based on my interpretation of my realities.
Yeah.
So,
I chuckle.
And when you say that we talk about in politics, especially in a small community environment like Cayman, where we got 19 elected members. They family to everybody. Somebody got to be family to each one of them. So you got to talk politics. It's almost by compulsory.
But you should talk politics.
And there should be no discrimination against anyone who chooses to speak about it, either publicly, privately, or wherever.
But this is why I enjoy and I hope, I say this publicly, and not in jest, that you come in here and spending some time with me doesn't get you in trouble, quote unquote, right? Because if we don't have a conversation, especially when we know we don't agree on certain things, then that's a reflection on us, our inability to acknowledge differences, right?
Right.
But to also see that we magnify them even though they're less than our likeness, right? And I chuckled just now when you talk about Bob Marley's quote in the rain, because that is something that I say to people. I love being in the rain. Right?
Yeah.
My father said, once in that lightning, splashing in the puddles. But the rain does something. It awakens all your senses, Yeah. If you really appreciate it, it can be one of the most liberating and romantic endeavors, if you so choose. It can also be awakening.
It is, and the best timing with rain is when you just get out to sea. So that all you got to do is grab your shampoo, bathe in the rain, go inside and dry off, and you're done.
Yeah. And in doing, as I share this with you, hopefully I'm not speaking too much of the school, people see that, all right? And this has happened to me. You go and you play in the rain as a grown man, and people will look and go, he gone off, right? But what it is a reminder.
Well, you remember that? Remember I said in here a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago, I said if you've seen a naked man running down the road by himself, people call him crazy. Yeah. But if you've seen 200 naked men running down the road, they call it a movement. That they're making a statement. It's real things. It's all about perception.
Yeah.
But yeah, and back to the motherland, Cayman. We have a lot of different things that are happening within politics and parliament. I just wish this government now the best.
Yeah.
We got roughly year and a half left for the next general election, and we just want to see this government navigate through all of the issues in which we face. We got the budget need to be produced before the end of December. There are a couple of things that need to be re-looked at, and in my opinion, this is just me speaking in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not stating anything, I'm just saying it's my opinion. We knew that if you took a poll for spending $21 million on sand to put on the beach that we're not going to access to, that would have failed miserably. We know that the regen project with the landfill and the methodologies, that would have been heavily talked about. I heard John talking about de-scope. I wish he would get into more detail as to what he mean by de-scope. The whole project need to be stopped, retendered, and when we write the RFP, we have to be extremely specific in what we want to see happening at that landfill and who benefits from it. Plain and simple.
I think in what you shared, if I may just share what I heard someone question just again earlier today. A project that's been talked about for decades, that their price tag was in the tens of millions, then it was hundreds of millions, now it could be in the billions. What is the cost? What being said true? Yeah?
Well, here's the thing, right? We can put aside all of the fluff, all of the conversations, all of the speculation, all of the projected cost. Put all that aside for just 1 second.
Okay.
Let's just look at the situation from a reality standpoint, meaning what is the true reality? The true reality is this. We have a landfill that clearly needs to be sorted out and fixed, right? It's an environmental nightmare. We know that. And part of the reason is because we didn't get it right in the beginning. So it's just a constant accumulation of doing the wrong thing over and over. Now, that aside, the landfill has resources that are valuable. Right? It has methane, it has recyclables, it have all these different things. Cayman don't produce enough recyclables for it to be economically sensible. But if we can put a comprehensive recycling program in place that could offset or break even, then that's a win, right? For garbage displacement. Then if the municipal waste and all the things that can be recycled is composted properly, drained off for methane then can create other energy that could then be put back on into the market for monetary value. So in essence, we currently own the landfill. It's a Cayman Islands arm of government. It's the landfill that we use to anyway, it's ours.
Yeah.
Now, for us to take it or even sit at a table to negotiate, forget about cost for a second, to negotiate a deal that we are partially paying for, then hand it over to a private partnership, who then in turn implement the solutions within the outlined business case that we help paying for, the liners, the methane wells, the waste energy plant, all these things that have been highlighted within the project. Government has to assist with paying for these items, right? Okay. Now, the private entity takes control. They charge us a tipping fee. Then they turn around and generate the energy and the monetary value of all the resources that they're taking out of it. They then sell it to the utility company, who then sells it back to us. They take the methane, they can turn it into LNG if that's what they choose to do. CUC now wants LNG to run their plants, which is greener and cheaper. I agree with running better, cleaner, cheaper fuel because we pay for the fuel. So I'm asking myself, where do we stand in the win column? Where is the win column for the Cayman Islands and its people? There's no win column. We're helping you pay for something that you're going to essentially control, charge us to burn our garbage, and then you're going to turn around and use the megawatts or the kilowatts that you use from the steam, that you get from the steam turbines, sell it to the only distributor on the island who has the right to distribute, which is the utility company, who's going to then in turn sell it back to us. Now, here's the part that really puts the punch in the blow. We can take the methane, we can generate LNG, who then sells it to CUC, who then charges us to buy the LNG made from the methane that we currently own right now.
Yeah.
So again, there's another lose column for Cayman.
All right. Mr. Rankin, let's pause, take this break. We do understand there's a caller. We'll join that right after.
Awesome.
Stay tuned.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. Wow. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles until December 31st, 2023. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Brand Source Home Gallery 54th birthday celebration with store-wide savings. Save on appliances, faucets, tubs, toilets, shower doors, vanities, kitchen cabinets, custom closets, and more. Starting Monday, November 6th, save 30%. Monday, November 13th, the savings will drop to 20%. And Monday, November 20th, they will drop to 10%. It pays to shop early and save more. Brand Source Home Gallery 54th birthday celebration savings on now through November 25th. Dorsey Drive Industrial Park. Call 623-5000 for more details.
Miller's Plumbing has announced a closing down sale on all plumbing material and accessories. 30% off on all items through December 2023. Miller's Plumbing, located at 194 Dorsey Drive, or call 949-4709 or 916-0751. 30% off on all items at Miller's Plumbing through December.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Mario D. Rankin for coming in the studio. We have a caller. We got two lines working, I believe. Just kidding. Let's take one of the calls. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. Thanks very much. First of all, good afternoon to Mario and to you, Dwayne.
Yes.
I should say that since you're talking about the phone lines, it reminds me of that scripture which says that you shall seek him and you shall find him if you shall search for him with all your heart. That's the way I feel to find Radio Cayman these days. You have to search with all your heart. Anyway.
Thank you for being there, John, but I'm hoping that as we hear you say that we recognize that maybe there's something that needs to be addressed and understand the why. I can say publicly that from this side of the table, the team that are here, the management, the staff, why, I don't know if it would be a stretch to say it's miraculous, their valiant efforts. Beyond that, I can't tell you what happened in anywhere else, but the guys here are amazing. The toothpicks, the Band-Aids, and the paper clips and the staplers, they do well, man. They do well.
Oh, but you know how we are with not to stretch this out too long. But you know how it is as human beings. We are so happy to call on the toll-free number for free for a long time. But if you just deny us one time, then we complain. Okay, now. Well, I hate to take you off your stride with the other important things that you are discussing, but you did say it was an open line, so I thought let me just call in to say just one thing that I think is important to the community as well. First of all, I'd like to send out some congratulations and real shout out to Miss Sharon Ralston, the ombudsman. She is really making a series of decisions that I think are going to be very impactful in the community. And I want to refer to two of them. One happened before, one is just recent. In June, she chastised the judiciary, the judicial administration for deleting a record of an ongoing case, which was this was a record which was relevant to an ongoing case, and the Freedom of Information request was made. And the judicial administration deleted the record, knowing very, very well that a request had been made. And she made a decision, a formal decision, and chastised them for that. And as a result of that, she has put them under an obligation to now work out a policy together with National Archives of how to preserve records. So it was very, very impactful. But the latest one is perhaps even more important. On November the 8th, she found the Judicial and Legal Service Commission guilty of maladministration. And I'll read to you just 5 lines of the 2 counts on which she found them guilty of maladministration. Basically, I had filed a complaint to say that since 2016, when the Constitution was amended, there had been no rules developed as required by the Constitution to govern the procedure of complaining against judges. 2021, I engaged the governor about it. They never did anything about it. This year, having admitted that they needed these rules, then they said, well, we don't need them. And she told them, no, you don't tell me that. So this is what she said. She said, quote, I found that the maladministration occurred due to the failure of the Judicial and Legal Service Commission to update its complaints policy for judges to bring it in line with the Cayman Islands Constitution. Unquote. Then the next quote, given that the Commission appears at the very least not to have acted with any urgency in complying with its constitutional responsibility to draft a complaints policy, I found that this extraordinary delay of some 7 years amounted to maladministration. Now, in conclusion, in order for one to understand how significant this decision is, you have to keep in mind who are the members of this commission who she is telling that you are guilty of maladministration. This is Chief Justice Ramsey Hale, although most of the delay took place under Chief Justice Smelly. Sir John Goldring, President of the Court of Appeal in Cayman. Justice Adrian Saunders, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Dame Janice Pereira, somebody I know from the BVI, who is the Chief Justice and President of the Court of Appeal of Eastern Caribbean states, as well as Mr. Langston Sibley's KC, who is one of the prominent public service lawyers in Cayman. She has told them that they have been guilty of violating the Constitution for 7 years. Ask yourself, these are the judges, when we go to court, when all else fails, we go to court, we say, look, such and such a body can't give me a license, can't give me a permit, and we go to them. And they sometimes chastise these bodies. They say, well, look, how can you operate without a policy and so forth? And they themselves are guilty of it. Not only are they guilty of it, they didn't do it for 7 years, and even after it became urgent in 2021, they refused to do it. They changed their stories to a point where the ombudsman says, hey, look, you can't do this. You are guilty of maladministration. This now, in my view, is a political issue. It is a matter which government should take up. Why? Because the people who are suffering as a result of this are the electorate. I just thought that I should repeat that. The story has been reported on Cayman Mile Road. It is based on a letter which was written to me because I was the complainant in this case as well. And I hope that justice can continue to be done in Cayman for the simple human being. Mm-hmm. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you for reminding us. And I think this is where public disclosure, timeliness helps. All right, Mr. Rankin, respectfully, we'll take our news, and when we come back, let's see if we can go straight through to 2:30. We'll see. Stay tuned.
911 service is back up after an outage this morning around 9:43 a.m. The flow emergency call system reportedly went down. At 10:15, we were told that mobile lines were fine for both Digicel and Flow, but landline services were still affected. At 11:32 a.m., all 911 call lines were reported to be fully operational and that Flow had rectified the problem. No details were provided on what caused that outage in the first place. In international headlines, Israel and the Hamas militant group appeared close to a temporary ceasefire deal that could bring the first pause in fighting in a devastating 6-week war and result in the release of dozens of hostages held captive in the Gaza Strip. Hamas predicted a Qatari-mediated deal could be reached in, quote, the coming hours, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was set to convene top decision-makers to discuss the matter. The announcement came as Israeli troops battled Palestinian militants in an urban refugee camp in northern Gaza, around hospitals overcrowded with patients and sheltering families. North Korea today made an apparent third attempt to place a military spy satellite into orbit, that, according to South Korea's military, demonstrating its determination to build a space-based surveillance system during protracted tensions with the U.S. The Associated Press said it was certain to invite strong condemnation from the U.S. and its partners, because the UN bans North Korea from conducting satellite launches, calling them covers for tests of missile technology. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said it detected the launch of what North Korea has described as a military spy satellite from the North's main space center in the northwest Tuesday night. Japan said it also spotted a North Korean launch. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
When you want the best Black Friday deals in town, where do you go? Cellular World. Where can you buy smartphones starting at $99? Cellular World. Who has select iPhone and Samsungs up to 40% off for Black Friday? Cellular World. Who has the largest selection of headphones and Bluetooth speakers? Cellular World. Where can you save up to 40% on phone accessories like cases, wireless chargers, power banks, tripods, and ring lights? Cellular World. Who is the best at fixing and repairing damaged mobile phones? Cellular World. Catch the Black Friday sale on now at Cellular World, Cayman's one-stop shop for phones, accessories, and repairs. Located in Baytown Plaza across from the wharf.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Jingle all the way into the season of incredible savings and wish granting with Digicel. This Christmas, get 25% off your Prime Bundle plan or postpaid bill for the next 6 months. With plans featuring social data, entertainment data, and more, Digicel keeps you connected and entertained all season long. But here's the real magic. Digicel could make your Christmas wish come true. Win a prize of your choice, from getting your rent paid to a new laptop or even a brand new car. Visit a Digicel store today, where dreams come true this holiday season.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britke. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The Black Friday sale is now on at Reflections Clothing Store. Save 60% on all Adidas apparel. Find store-wide savings up to 60% off on tees, caps, shoes, and clothing. Selected Nike, Puma, and US Polo is 50% off. US Polo handbags. Buy one, get one at 50% off. Save on ladies' fashion jeans, one pair of jeans for $25 or two for $45. Includes select Levi's, 100% cotton tees by Johnny Cotton, 2 for $34.99. Spend $25 and be entered to win up to $500 in gift certificate. Shop the Black Friday sale at Reflections Clothing Store on now.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And Mr. Mario Rankin, thanks for being, and thanks to Ms. Susan. We're going to be able to talk straight through to 2:31 in 46 seconds. We do have you have a call, she tells us.
Okay.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Me?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you and your guest there, Mr. Mario. How you all doing today?
Afternoon, sir.
Hey, afternoon. How are you?
Not bad, you know. I mean, I had a few interesting phone calls quite recently. A few people heard some commercials that was on some radio station. I wasn't sure if it was yours or which radio station it was on. In terms of, they said that they heard some political advertisements of me or from me. Yeah. Well, I really don't know where those, what the genesis of that is. I don't know how it came about. I didn't sanction it. I didn't tape anything. I didn't put anything out there. I don't know if it's some sick joke somebody playing or what the situation is. But I just want the public to know that they can disregard that because Paul Rivers, is not running and I'm not declaring. So, thanks for the interest, but it's a no-go for me with that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't believe it's on Radio Cayman if it's airing as such. But no.
I haven't heard anything either.
So, you see how things get started in this era?
Hey, listen, Cayman, capital of rumors, you know how we go.
So, Paul Rivers, what are you saying? You're not running?
No, I'm not.
Nah, man. No, sorry to hear that. That's some odd somewhere as you shared it. But to talk to us as we listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want to mislead, and I would like to be
agreed.
Yeah. I like to be straight up with me, and I don't want cause any confusion, or I just want to dispel whatever belief it may be from now that that's not the case with me. Because if I don't address it, and then it comes down to it, and they're going to be saying, oh, you lied, you said you were, you declared, and this and that, and you know how we go.
Yeah.
You can't pull feathers out of the wind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you're a man of honor and integrity, so thanks. I haven't heard it personally, but I've heard it. People say they heard it. So have you heard it personally?
I haven't heard it personally.
Okay.
I've heard of quite a few people actually call me, and I saw a few people who told me they actually heard it as well. I don't know where this is coming from.
Right. And as I said, I mean, it hasn't been aired on Radio Cayman, but, I think there are 1,500 radio stations now, so I'm not sure.
Well.
To be honest. I guess so busy and caught up with other things that I really have time to call in on a show or listen to the radio, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you clarified that, Paul. For sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
So how are you gents doing? How is the temperature from your perspective of the country?
Well, I was just telling Mr. Ebanks here during the break that we still have a small dilemma with Speaker because we've seen the press release now from the former Premier saying that he's declined the appointment that was offered to him. So. I think, and then when I read his public release, which I thought was very interesting because it said all the things in which he want to accomplish now that he can focus on the Savannah Newlands or Newlands, his constituency, and as much as I support any politician who is duly elected in their respective constituencies to obviously prioritize their constituency, but I fail to accept the idea that those are the only individuals who live in Cayman and that you are responsible for as an elected member. So I personally lived in Newlands from 1994, right? From 1994, November the 25th, I moved into Newlands. And I can tell you that immediately I got involved with all of the community projects that were going in and on around the area. And I have yet to this day, prior to 2013 when Mr. Panton ran for politics the first time, ever seen him do anything in the community. So I find it really hard pressing to accept his reasons for not being Speaker of the House because he wants to be more connected with his community. I don't believe it for a minute.
Well, Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I haven't personally read the release, so I'm not doubting what you're saying. I'm just saying I know personally read about. What I would say about the Speaker of the House, personally, I feel like the Speaker of the House shouldn't come from an elected official.
Agreed.
I think it should always be an outside person of capability and posing from a more neutral position. That to me, that's true balance in democracy.
I agree.
That's how I would like to see it, and because when you really stop and check it out, right? Especially since we have the one man, one vote way of electing people now, from that constituency, they elected you to represent them. So how can you really play a dual role, like really representing the people and then holding the chair as well? I see, not as impossible, don't get me wrong, not as impossible, but I see it super challenging as well. I don't think that when people elect someone, they elect you with that option that, okay, you're going to become blank and just be the speaker and a representative, you're going to be blank or non-participating and be the speaker. I don't see it being that way or that way it should be. I personally believe that the speaker should be a neutral person from outside of the government. I think we would have a greater handle on democracy that way. And in saying this, I've been such a long way, I didn't even participate in a talk show, but we're speaking about politics, something I'm very interested in. Because in anywhere in the world, Cayman and anywhere, politics is life and life is politics. Whether you realize it or not, it's one and the same.
You can't get around it.
You can't get around it. You can't get over it. You can't get under it.
That's so true.
Yeah, it submerges you. It encompasses you. It engulfs you. So it's there with you. But what I would say is this. I think, we should have some political reform in terms of, at first I kind of got the grasp that we want to implement the one man, one vote so we can have more accountability, but that's not really working.
It's not working.
What I would say is this: we should have political reform in the fact that it should be national voting, and here's my reasons why. If 19 people can decide in which the way I live my life in the Cayman Islands, I should have a deciding factor
on who do that
to do that, because
that's true.
Anyway, you take it, no matter, you could be from a small demographic with 200 or 300 people, and you can become a minister, so you can implement some serious measures and some serious laws that can have impacting and could be even devastating effects on a country. So I think the country needs to be able to decide who they're choosing as a country, who to be the people as a country choosing to represent us. And I don't want to hear the excuse that you could never go around to all the communities in the Cayman Islands. No, I'm not expecting that. You go around to the community in which you live in or you hail from that district, you can do a lot of door-to-door visits from there, but you can show your intelligence, ability, and intellect on platforms like your houses, Facebook, Twitter, all those sort of things. You can show yourself up there, and you can debate on a national stage as well to show your intellect, capabilities, and abilities. Because if you're so choosing to go abroad to represent the Cayman Islands, we need to know that we have a capable person at hand, not someone who's going to twiddle their thumbs, lock their hands, and don't have any eye contact with those dignitaries around the table, which would be their counterpart. We need a military frame of mind to stand up, to proceed forward, and to do the right things for the Cayman Islands. So that's the way that in which they can be measured and judged by being on those political platforms. In past elections, I was so disappointed to see that so many people who got elected didn't even attend a debate, but yet through political sway and who knows who, they were dragged in. There was a few people that I know, people that I like and speak to, they had a lot of chat when they were on the outside, but when they got on the inside, they went flat. I don't respect them kind of things because then there's a bias biased opinion. You're just being biased. If you're for the country, you're for the country. No matter what side or what color you wear, you're for the country. If it's for the next generation, you're going to fight for the next generation. Being muted, silent, or harnessed doesn't work for me. You know, I don't respect those kind of antics and actions. But that's just my perspective. That's my little political rant. It's so many important things that we need to be dealing with. You know, we at a rapid pace. We're losing the next generation. We're not giving the next generation a chance. We're slipping through the cracks. Our identity is being erased through measures and systems that are put in place, and sometimes it doesn't look like you realize really what's taking place here. You know, I mean, so much things that we definitely need to address in the Cayman Islands. And, you know, this last little fiasco that I saw was like, boy, a major jump as a power struggle, you know. I don't think that the opposing factor really had the best interest of the Cayman Islands at heart. That's my personal take, you know. Just things to address.
Mm-hmm. Mario?
No, Paul, I agree 100%. I think that we've given this one man, one vote an opportunity to materialize, to see if it was a better system for us. And to your point, it's clearly not a better system for the Cayman Islands, because we don't see what we expected to see in regards to being held accountable. And and to your point again, you know, if we can elect someone to go abroad to represent us, but they have not done an adequate or efficient job representing their own people home domestically, then we have a problem. And from what I see and what I've seen over the past 2 to 3 elections is that, as you mentioned, you got some people who talk the good talk. I mean, we saw Austin Harris talk for 10 years on a radio station, got into politics and never said a word. And we've seen how it has changed people. We've seen how people have, I mean, Winston Conley got in there, bailed out. I mean, it is a lot of disappointments that we've seen over the past few election cycles. And as you mentioned, Generation Now is 100% responsible for Generation Next. So everything that we do have to be reflective of where we want to go and where we want to be in the future. And we have to be a part of that environment, whatever it is we plan in, whatever we pass, whatever project we do. If the Caymanian people not at the forefront of benefiting and at the forefront of engaging and running and participation, then we shouldn't be doing it at all. But that's just my personal opinion.
No, certainly true. I concur with your sentiments. Just an example, right? Okay, so every country needs development, but it needs runaway development. Here we are in the Cayman Islands. Development is just runaway. And here's the problem with runaway development from my perspective again, right? So we have to employ all this outside labor, not really truly giving our people here the chance to participate in elevating themselves via a job, right? Now they're saying that they're developing this for the Cayman Islands, but who's really benefiting? Because if the Cayman Islands, the people of the Cayman Islands, the nationals of the Cayman Islands can't participate in the building process, you think they stand a chance of working in an establishment when it's done? No.
Or buying any of them?
Or buying any of them. So
yeah.
What really happens then, as we can see our infrastructure can't hold this, crime escalates, modern day crime escalates. They like the robbing you just like it was 1:30 in the morning. It doesn't matter. So we bring in so many different nationalities into this little small jurisdiction who come from countries that this is the norm to them. So the rat race on which they derive from. So to live in this is like nothing but to us as a very foreign and very different way of living. So we as locals don't really even feel safe. That's one way. So when you don't allow the locals to have a job, then here's what we're really doing. We're increasing them to live generation after generation in the same housing establishment. So we're letting them slip through the cracks. There is where we start to lose our identity. And then they get stressed out in little property and assets that they may have just to survive. Or survival mode is kicking in. They will part with them, sell them or whatever, just to live another day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we are also allowing the real estate companies to overinflate land prices, of which our people cannot reach. The sovereignty of any country is, for any people of any country, is the land. You know, once the land is out of the people of that country, then it's done. It's finished. You know? So when we allow these things to happen, what we should be doing is say, okay, Mr. So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so want to have these projects, so we can have overlapping periods. So it's going to take you how many years to build this? 4 years, okay? So 3.5 years, making the next project start. So when one project is finishing, we have that transitional period where the next one is starting, and people can go from one stage of employment to the next stage of employment, like that, so on and so forth. That way, they can have a financial gain, be able to accomplish their goals, and not be leaning on the country, not be leaning on NAU, and not being made to feel less than. You know, affording the next generation some chance, some hope. But really and truly, I mean, the outlook of Cayman is very bleak for the locals, is super bleak for the locals, you know. I feel sorry for my people big time. Some of it is our fault, and then a lot of it is just the way the system is. And this is not just this present administration. I think this present administration has inherited a great burden. How they go about fixing is a different thing, but I think they have inherited a big burden. I think past administrations is greatly responsible for the burden that we are facing now, because again, it's all gung-ho about development. It's all grab and go and, you know, rinse and repeat these people and move on again. And no matter who is getting crushed in the way of things going, it seems to be no true concern for the millennials, the next generation. Like you said, generation now is responsible for the next generation. You know, where's our vision? You know, let me ask this: where is our vision? How do we see ourselves in the next 4, 12, 16, 20 years down the road? Where is that? That's what I want to hear my MPs coming out in public meetings and saying, look, here is what we inherited. Here's how we are trying to fix it. And here's what we intend to do in the next 8 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years. I want to see that projection online. That tells me that whether or not you accomplish it, you are certainly a leader and a forward thinker, because you have a notion of how to address these situations and how to try to fix these things. And collectively, that makes people stronger, because other strong-minded people will come forward and aid the process. But if we become mute, silent, whether we're trying to effect change or not, but if we become mute, silent, and not build awareness for people to really, really realize what we're endeavoring to do, then what are we really doing?
My friend, you know, that's the question. What are we doing? Where's the vision, right?
Well, and certainly to his point, if past governments haven't done anything to change the compounding effect of not doing anything, that doesn't give this administration an excuse to continue to do nothing. We got to start somewhere in order to create the change that's needed, not wanted, that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you know, when you see the compounding effects of not doing anything, it becomes overwhelming. And to his point, 10, 15 years down the road, where you want to see Cayman, what strategic planning you putting in place that's going to encapsulate the Caymanian involvement, participation, and Caymanians who are actually benefiting. So, you know, I mean, it is unfortunate, but it is bleak. It is very bleak, Paul, I can tell you that.
And mind you, I'm all for the independence, and I'm all for this government, and don't get me wrong, I don't want nobody to get it twisted. I am for this group, but this group has to act too. And because we have a lot of capable people in this group, and I want to know some of the things that they may have inherited, but we have to show that vision. Where are you stitching in the rips and tears and bringing in the Cayman people, the Caymanian involvement, and the benefits to the Cayman people? I need to know it. I need to see it. I need to be able to taste it. I need to be able to envision it. And I need to be able to tell my children, to build awareness with them and their children and so on. This is where we're going. You add your little bits and pieces to help better it, but this is where we're going. I need to know where we're going. And if you elect leaders, that's to lead. A good leader is a good listener, a humble person. You don't have to always be the lion. You can be the lamb too, or the fox, and you listen, and you use ingenuity, because the main focus in my mind as a leader is the outcome should be of great benefit to the country and the people you're trying to lead. That's how I think. Not getting caught up in the day-to-day running. And here's what, let me forewarn my friends that is in a leadership position. Here is where the arrows may come at this group. If they don't start coming out, having meetings and saying what they found, how they're trying to fix it, and where they're intending to go, then if you hadn't done that social awareness, then when the team comes back again, they're going to be coming back with all sorts of stuff. So how do you counteract that? Better you put your guard up in front and say, okay, when they come with this is what we're dealing with. The country already knows the country. You can't make an educated decision unless you got the facts. Educate the populace. That's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
We have to do that. We have to do that. We just can't stay like this. And I got friends on the other side, two people that I respect and call them friends. See me, whether they feel or see me about me or not, I don't hate none of them. But to me, they're so capable, but they have done such a poor job in the last two administrations. What gives them the gall and audacity to try to crush Cayman in the name of power to come back to try to unseat the president group? Independence can work, and I'm glad. Here's why I'm glad that an independent government is in. One of the reasons why I'm glad. They all come from individual perspectives, so they're not bridled and harnessed under one cloud to say. Because when you have a party system, which also I don't think is working for the Cayman Islands, when you have a party system, party is priority, not people is priority. When you have an independent coalition, I think people becomes more of the priority from that perspective. When parties are there to survive and do what they want to do and be the best at what they do, that's not truly beneficial to the people. If you doubt me, just reflect on the past 8 years, going back the last two administrations, and tell me what we came up with. Where have we really, really benefited from that? Show me, because if we did, then how come we're such in the mess that we're in?
Hey, Paul.
What might the independent friends to do is say, look, here's what we found, here's what we're dealing with, and here's where we intend to go. All right? Gentlemen, I could go on all day. But I give someone else a chance. I mean, I don't know if y'all want to say anything before I leave, but I'll just put my blood pressure back down.
No, we could have this conversation for hours, and unfortunately, we have a time constraint, and we're at that point now. Maybe you will find time in your schedule to join us either by phone or in person at some point.
Kind of give me a time that you've been having a kind of free time, and I'll look at my business schedule. I'll put aside some time.
All right.
For the country.
We'll do that, man. We'll do that. Hey, thanks very much, all right?
Yes. Thanks, man. I think you're doing a good job. And Mario, you also doing a very, very good job.
Thank
I
you,
like
bro.
the way you dissect things and the way how the forward-thinking process going. And the way, Mario, don't take this the wrong way, bro, but over the years knowing you, you have matured so much, man. You impressed me because you dissect a lot of issues to the very core, and then you put it back so people can have an understanding, and you build a lot of social awareness, my friend. Dream so do you. You all have a great day.
You too, man. Bless it too. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Thank you for those words, Paul. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Mario, hopefully you'll be able to join us, man. I mean, there's so much.
That would be awesome to get him in here one afternoon and we just sit down and plow the road.
Let's do it,
man.
man.
What I mean? The road to El Dorado. That's what, we need to start it and finish it. But thank you again, Sterling. But I just want to say one or two things based on what he said and add. It is high time that we change the way we think and when we get into politics. And as he mentioned, the country voted for independence 2 straight elections. The last one was hijacked from us. This one we managed to get back. And I support the independent group 100%. And that's the reason why I felt that it was important that if the leadership wasn't where it should be, we need to change leadership. We need to demonstrate that we can be internally accountable for the things that we do and don't do. So that way, unfortunately, it played out the way it did. And whether or not we want to give credit anywhere, if the opposition didn't file that no confidence motion, we wouldn't have had a change in government. You understand? We wouldn't have been able to address the serious issues in which we face. And I just want to be one of those individuals who not only creates awareness, but continues the dialogue. And if there's any way that I can help in any shape or form in order to get us and help us navigate where we need to be, I'm there. And I don't need anything from it other than the results. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, thanks for coming and sharing your time with us. And as the caller said, you do bring much to the table. All right. Tomorrow, Wednesday, please start your day with Mr. Art. Join him for the record and come back for Talk Today. Enjoy your afternoon, Listen to Susan. She'll play the soothing music that just, sings to the soul. Until tomorrow.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman.